Good morning, everybody. We'll Fix It team here. You see what's going on behind me over here? I have a pile of dirt and some other stuff. Okay, if you might remember a video or two ago, I did some wiring on a building that was behind me over here. I had to pull a wire so I could do some welding and whatnot. Let me show you what we got going on here. Okay, so what we've got here is a hole approximately 5 feet deep. Might be a little deeper than that. I have to look down and see. That could be. But I had it dug with a man with a backhoe dug this out, and it's a little bit bigger than what I need. I actually think I'm going to fill some of that in, probably about where you see that line at right there. I might come in a little bit more because it doesn't need to be. That's a lot of concrete's going to have to go in this hole, and that's expensive. So I don't need it to be quite that big. But what this hole's purpose is what we have, and I'm going to have to do a little running around, but we have this tower section right here, which goes out behind the building. It's about 50 feet with a piece of pole, which it'll be longer when I'm done. I'm actually going to bring it up a little bit more. We have this antenna, and it doesn't look like a whole lot on the ground because I've got it folded up right now because I had to transport it from one place to another. But the length of that one boom is about 20 foot right there, from the red end to the back end. Red end's the front, and then these elements actually they'll look like crosses. I can't do it. I've got the camera on, but they'll look like crosses, and those are flat and vertical antennas. And there's a big wire back door that goes back here as well, big cross. So like I said, I had to put this all, collapse it so I could transport it. Well, with this hole and that tower, it's going to serve a purpose to be able to lift this tower up and let it down so that I can, put the antenna together, work on it and everything. So what we're going to do today, and I'll show you something else here in a second. We'll get over to the other end of the yard. But we're going to build a form. We're going to I've already got a template made up. It's in the building in here. Let me see here. This is the little building that we were working on to get some power pulled out here. Got my generator with my big honking mufflers because I don't like it loud. But I made this template off of the existing, that tower was already up at another place. And so I used this piece of plywood and a sledgehammer, and I went down and set it on top of the studs and tapped where the studs were so I could make indentions so I could then drill the holes out. And I've marked everything. It's hard to see on the piece of wood, but we'll have the pull pole in this vicinity here, which lifts the tower up. This will be the tower section that sits on a hinged plate. Hold on, I'll show you a little more about. Look at neighbor dog. Neighbor dog. Yeah. This is actually this is the hinge right here. This part here would bolt to the concrete, and this is just a place for it to set so it'll be level. And then this tape you see is just holding this together so I can move it around. This isn't flopping anywhere. I made this years ago, and you can see the tower goes way out there, and it's going to be, like I say, a little taller when I'm putting it together. Let me show you another thing. Okay, if you've watched the videos, you remember the Beller's tractor with had an injection, had a lift pump that had to work on. That was over here. We worked on the lift pump and got it running, so that was good. Let's see if I can get this right here. So you see this pole, this used to be a pole that was used at a gas station to hold a big light fixture up. And let me get around to where you can see kind of what I've done here. If we follow it up, I've got it leaning in this tree right now because I don't want it sitting on the hydraulics and something in the yard and it tip over or whatever, or pull my. So I just kind of leaning against the tree. But this thing was already up at another place, and I had to move it. And if I let it down, it's so tall, I don't know how I'd get it back up. We used a bucket truck the first time, and I don't have access to that bucket truck anymore. The pole itself is about 35 foot tall. The antenna, like I say, is taller than that. Laying on the ground, you can't see the actual relations in height. But what I did was, I needed to move this thing. So I used my welder, and I welded some old scrap blades, lawnmower blades, to the bucket right here. And the same thing up here. That way this thing is fixed to the bucket. And I just picked it right up off of the existing studs. I tilted it back so that it laid across the back of my roll bar, and I drove the tractor back up onto my trailer, and I just brought the whole thing back over here, and I've got it leaning in the tree right now. We'll get this off of here. As soon as I get those studs and everything sticking out of the ground where they're solid, I can drive the tractor over there, set this on top of it, bolt it down. So that made moving it really, really easy. Plus I can tilt it back and get my cable. There's a cable that I use. This cable right here actually runs through and hooks to this hand winch right here that would be used to lift the tower up and down. I'd turn this handle right here, and that would bring the cable down and then pull it, and that would pull the tower up, or let it down, whatever I had to do to it. So yeah. So that's what our project's going to be for. I won't get all that done. We're going to be lucky to get the form made. It's about to get 950 degrees out here today. So we're just getting up. It was late night last night, Saturday night. We're doing all the stuff we're always doing. And we'll get as much done as we can today, and hopefully call the people at the concrete place next week to get them to bring the concrete out and pour it in a hole. Okay, so step one to this whole hole was, and I've got most of them out, but look at this. Look at that. There were all these frogs that were in the hole, and I wasn't about to throw dirt over top of them. So we got down in there with a ladder and some water and got the poor little guys out. There's a few more in there. I'll get those, but I needed to get these back out of the bucket and let them get free and in a shaded area, because it's pretty hot down there. I was wondering they survived as long as they did. But there's several that might still be down here. This is the ladder that I'm using to get down in the hole. This is a 10-foot step ladder. So there we are. We're looking. I'm in the hole. There's my hand. Yeah, so we've got a rather large hole here that probably doesn't be quite as big, but it was nice that the man dug it for me instead of having to do any of it by hand. So we'll fill in a little bit of this. Yep. But yeah, they were all this. There's a little frog hole right there, and then there's one up there. And once I start, I'm gonna dig around a little bit, real careful with the shovel. There was one little bitty one running around in here, but I do love life, and I want to see it flourish, so I didn't just bury him in the hole. So the next step will be around the edge of this hole. Let me show you. Over here, I've got a little mounded up dirt situation going on. I kind of wish, I wasn't here when he dug it. I kind of wish he took the bucket and just scooted a little bit around the edge. So I'm gonna have to take the shovel and dig around the edge and throw some of that dirt back in here. That'll be okay. But we've got to get a form around this hole that's level, so that I can put across the top of it the actual part for the studs. You'll see, it'll come along slowly. But so yeah, anyways, we'll keep moving forward. I'll look for some more froggies to get out of here, because I think they deserve to live just as much as anybody else. They help control the bug population, and they're kind of cute little things. They make fun little noises. But anyways, all right, here we go. Stick around. Okay, so I'll now be cutting the pieces that I want to use for my stakes. And I think this will work. I've got some angle iron or some stuff that I've salvaged like out of the dump. And it's already got a hole drilled right there at the point where if I put a 2x4 beside it, then I can level it to the top. And then maybe possibly get a level form started. So let's see how this goes real quick. All right, so I have now checked off all four corners. It levels up at every point. Check me out. So I have one sitting over there just to keep reference. That's the highest point. I measured off from there. I measured 4 inches to the ground where my little hole is. That will be the bottom of my form. It'll stretch from there to there. Here to here, that's level. That's level. I put a level across that. Everything's level. So the hole should be level. If I'm doing something wrong, well, we're going to find out. Like I say, I'm just just do whatever I can to make things work. Do the best we can. And we're getting ready to get some big storm. Ooh. Beautiful view it is though, beautiful, lovely America. Okay, so now I'm going to put my tools up. This will be part one. Oh. There's the form. That's what we've got. This is where I put that little back thing in there just to kind of add a little strength. But we'll fill this in so that it's not, I'll take up all that space. I'm out of breath. It's hard clay down that deep, so that's why it was such a hard hit. So that'll be plenty. They'll hold that back. And we're gonna put our stuff up and get in the house for the rest of the day. It's Sunday, so we're getting ready for work tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in to We'll Fix It team. Y'all have a wonderful week ahead. Part one. Part two coming up soon.